Now to our game that we will see here on NBC. Chris is about to hop on a plane, go talk to Andy Reid. That's pretty cool. I'm glad.
It is cool. I'm very glad.
Little birdie told me that Andy Reid requested you.
It's what I heard. It's awesome.
I want to talk to him.
Yeah, I want to set him straight. He said this about my offense last year.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell him he's wrong.
Oh yeah, it's true. It could be a bad thing.
It could be a bad
Who knows?
thing too. I'm going to the principal's office. I love Andy Reid. The interactions I've always had with him have been phenomenal. He just couldn't be a nicer guy. Loves talking ball. I'm excited to interview him, pick his brain a little bit. Hopefully get to see a little practice, tomorrow. Get to watch the Magic Man at work in practice. That'll be cool in my home. So, yeah, I'm excited to go out there.
What are the things you want to find out the most from Andy Reid, you think? Like, what are you curious about?
Well, always curious about his ability to blend personalities together. I think he's a magic man, right? Just even this year. Let's just think, Kadarius Toney, he's such a pain in the ass. And, Juju Smith-Schuster, all he worries about is dancing on the logo before the game. And right? And we don't hear a peep when they go there.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's just like, hey, we're all having fun and we're winning games and everybody's happy. Right? I think he's amazing at that. I'm dying. And this is definitely going to be part of the interview. It's just, the offense around Mahomes, where did it come from? What was the jump off point? Again, when that started in 2019, when did you start to go, wait, I could just have this guy go that way and this guy go that way and he'll throw it. This will be amazing. And, I think everybody in football was like, I don't know how they're reading these plays. What the hell? How did you come up with it? Those are some of the things I'm very intrigued by, let alone his magic touch of Mahomes is obviously coachable, very coachable. And that can be rare for guys that are like him because they just go, wait, I'm awesome, so I'm going to get it done. Don't worry, coach. I got it, right? Mm-hmm. But coachable, made the right adjustments from last year to this year. We talked about it a ton this year, right? Him playing by the book, being better in the pocket. Mechanics are perfect. Balls coming out of his hands, amazing. But how do you keep that blend of hey, let the system work for you, but I don't want to make you a robot and still be Patrick Mahomes and make magic happen?
Yeah.
Those are things I'm interested to hear him answer a little bit.
You going to ask him if he thinks they're better offensively without Tyreek Hill?
Ooh, 100%. I'm going there.
I know.
He'll give me some coach answer.
Yeah, but he'll probably want to talk up the players he does have.
I would think so. I would think so. And then of course, it gives more love to his coaches.
Yeah.
And, his quarterback to go, yeah, but they're good. And our coaches came up with their proper game plan. So maybe he will give me some something there.
All right, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to this game, too, because I think the Jacksonville Jaguars, all of a sudden, here they come. It's like my Detroit Lions, a team that's been bad for a long time. It's even better when they get good, because especially when there's a young, exciting player like Trevor Lawrence. But a lot of it will hinge on, can they slow down that offense from Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, Patrick Mahomes. And so they played once before this regular season. It was a 27-17 victory? Was that the final score?
Weird game.
It was a 20-0 game early. And then
could have been more than that. Could have been 30-0.
So let's start with this.
Then it could have been 20-17. It was one of those games where I know we came in on a Monday and went, that was an annoying game from Kansas City, right? Where you go, they really never got stopped. They just got complacent. They drop a pass. They fumble, right? It wasn't like I was like, oh, my gosh. The Jaguars, they physically just were all over them, and their scheme was all over them.
Yeah.
It was like, they scored 27. If they were really on their game, they probably should have scored 41, maybe more.
Yeah, Mahomes threw for 330 yards and 4 touchdowns. They ran for 155 on the ground. I mean, they almost had 500 yards of total offense.
That's what I'm saying.
In this game. So, can the Jaguars' defense slow them down? So, let's take a look back. Week 10, they had to apply some pressure at times. They chose to, under pressure. This is what Mahomes did. He was 6 of 10. I was just 32% of the dropbacks.
And I don't even think that's
interception.
Blitz. I think that's just pressure.
Got it. Just pressure.
Yeah,
so
not
even with
they,
the blitz.
I was going to say they only blitzed them.
Pete.
I was going to say once, twice. I did not remember blitzes in the game.
So that was just getting pressure. When they didn't get pressure, he was 20 of 25, 259 yards, and all 4 of those touchdowns. Can they make him uncomfortable? Blitz or no blitz? And should they even blitz? What do you think? When you look back at that tape, it looked easy for the Chiefs. You've already said that. They probably should have scored more. So is it trouble time for the Jacksonville Jaguars defense?
I don't want to say trouble, but they pose some problems. There's no question they have to play it differently. Okay, that's the main headline. They can't go in with that game plan and go, oh, yeah. All right, so the first thing is to that graphic right there. Their front four just could not get there. So I do think they're going to have to figure out some ways to stress the protection out a little bit. Yeah, you've heard me say for a while now. I mean, the Chiefs are one of the best pass protecting O-lines in football. They got a left tackle that's phenomenal. They got arguably the best pass protecting guard in football in Tooney, right? We know the center's awesome. They're good across the board there. And I think that's a problem. So they're going to have to figure out some ways to, whether it's blitz one, drop one, blitz two, whatever. They got to do something there.
Yeah.
Then
next gen stats. Per Matt Casey says only one blitz in the game.
One blitz. So there you go. Okay. And then when you get into the coverage, they tried to play zone early on. The Jacksonville likes to play zone. That's what they want to do. And they tried to do that. But they messed up some things. And they messed up, as we've talked about a lot with a lot of teams that play Kansas City. You got to be ready for crossers, right? The deep crossers, the shallow crossers. How are we going to pass them off? What's our game plan? You can't expect that your guy playing man-to-man is going to be able to cover a guy that runs 4-3 across the field for 50 yards, right?
Yeah.
So, they messed up some of that stuff, like habitually, right, where you just went, whoa. I mean, these are gashes in the pass game. And really, he probably had a chance at a few more as well. So, the one thing that jumped at me as the game went on, and I think they messed up a few of those things, and then, again, him playing by the book and letting the system work for him, they did start to get into a little bit more of an aggressive coverage as the game went on. I do think they can play some man-to-man against this football team. First off, they have me, they have one of the best corners in football that nobody knows about. Tyson Campbell can match up with just about anybody. And he's their one guy that they will go, hey, you play man, and we'll do this and that with this and over there. But I think this is one where they could do it across the board a little bit more and play within that. And, of course, you got to protect the crossers and all that, again, we know.
Yeah.
And little pick plays. That was another thing. They went to the man-to-man, and then they got picked a few times. So now they got to see it, and hopefully they play it the right way. And, again, this is a young team who's still learning rules and doing stuff that way. But the approach has certainly got to be different on that side of the ball.
We have seen some teams play man effectively versus Kansas City. I'm not mistaken, right? It was the Sunday night game, Tennessee. It was like we were kind of surprised. We came away
and we went, man, that might have been the first game they needed Tyreek Hill. Remember we said that the next day, right? Yep. We were like, this is the first game ever where I went, they missed Tyreek Hill here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there have been some teams that have played that way against them. Because he's become amazing at zone. It's just you can't be right. He's too good. He's too smart. He can buy just enough time to let the zone spread out a little bit more, and he picks it away there. So, that's going to be the interesting thing. Now, the interesting thing with the Chiefs, though, is it's on that matchup of their offense versus that was just when they were starting to really become a run team. They're better at running now than they were then.
The Chiefs.
Yeah. They're truly a pretty balanced, 60-40 pass run team now. Where this point of the year, I bet you it was still, 75-25.
This might have been the coming out party.
I think it was kind of the coming out party of like, wait, are they really going to get on the center here and put two tight ends and run the ball like this a little bit?
Yeah.
I remember they did it, Cohen, thinking like, well, why are they wasting their time? They know they're not going to really do this as the year goes on. And they did. And that's where they're going to pose some problems here for Jacksonville as well.
All right, so then it's on the shoulders of Trevor Lawrence, perhaps, again, to figure out a way to get that offense cooking before they fall down 27-0, or like in this game, fall down 20-0. At least they've proven it in the postseason. So, how do they try to keep up point-wise offensively against this Chiefs defense, which is still pretty good?
I know. I'm not convinced they can run. I'm not convinced. I will say, like, as much as you heard me last week, their big O-line, I think, posed some problems for the Chargers D-line, right? I think we saw that in the second half. I mean, Etienne ran for, 120 last week? Even in the second half, they still smashed it up in there, and he was getting big runs. Kansas City's a different animal there. Kansas City, I think their D-line is a tough matchup for Jacksonville because they're like one of those rare teams that has size, but they're 340-pound guys, like also the most athletic guy on the defense, right?
Yeah.
Or any defense. He's one of those guys. You're like, is he really 340 and can move like that? So I do think it's going to come down to Trevor Lawrence and his ability to throw the football. And I think they're going to have to attack them a little bit more this time around. Early on in the game, they had some shots down the field. He had one where Trevor missed the throw. He was a little late. They batted a ball down. There was a few other times where they got in some formations and Spagnuolo came up with the right blitz, and he had to get the ball out quicker than he wanted to, and you go, ooh, there's going to be something there. I think the big thing is, they let Kansas City, like we've talked about with other teams sometimes, they never back them off. They let them play downhill, and it was screens and speed sweeps and little wide receiver short passes and all that. And Kansas City just went, all over it, and they were great at it. The other aspect I think that has to change a little bit is they got into some of these formations of like people are closer to the offensive line, condensed formations, tighter splits, bunches and all that, which is what they do. But it can be scary against a guy like Spags, right? Just think about it this way. You're a quarterback, right? Here we are. I got 3 receivers in a bunch to the left and my tight end to the right, right? Hey, there's all these guys covering over here, right? They're close. You can't tell who's blitzing, right? Safety can play back over the top, and you go, oh, it looks like 2-man. I think I'm okay. And all of a sudden, blue 45, set. And all of a sudden you start, oh, wait, 2 guys are coming off the edge, and that safety's coming down, and the linebacker who's up in the A gap is cheated and going to run over there. And now I'm screwed in my protection, and I didn't have enough time to see it develop because we were so condensed and it was right there. I'd be a little scared with that with Spags.
That's interesting.
I want to say spread them out more.
Where's the spread out by the sideline? If that guy's blitzing, he's got to run a marathon to get to the quarterback. He's got to run a
marathon, and you see it as a quarterback because it's like he has to show it. He's not going to get here in time. If he wants to blitz out there, fine, blitz. I'll still have enough time to take 5 steps and throw a ball down the field.
Yeah.
Right? So those defenses know that. They, oh, wait, I got to start getting in there if I want to actually get there. Oh, wait, I see it. Hey, check to the screen. Check to the max protect, whatever. And he does have the freedom to do that. We saw him throw that long touchdown to Zay Jones against the Chargers. And that would be one thing I would say they need to adjust.
So you do think, though, that if the Jaguars just look at this tape and go, okay, this is how they played us, this is how we can beat it, they might miss a few things that have changed with the Chiefs' defense since then, too. I did note that in your notes here.
Right. The Chiefs were a little bit – that was like we had talked about, I think a week or two before that where it was like it was either blitz or the crazy disguise, make it look like blitz, and we dropped the Tampa 2, right?
Yeah.
This was one of the first games where they started to go, wait, I think our young guys can – hey, let's double – a guy here.
Right.
And then we'll figure it out over there. Or let's double 2 guys on the 8-yard line.
It's a young defense. They've trusted those guys more as the year's gone on.
They have trusted them as the more gone. They've gotten more creative. And here's another thing that I know we just talked about with the other side of the matchup. I do think Kansas City's going to come away from watching that game and then even watching last week and go, we can man these guys up too. There's a one issue with Jacksonville. I like everything. They don't have a guy that scares you to run deep, right? They don't. That's where Calvin Ridley, who they have on their team, and I think people forget, will be awesome for them next year, right? But they don't have that guy. Kind of heard Chris Collinsworth. I think he brought that up in the telecast the other night. And these are 3 corners in KC that can really run, and they're comfortable in man. And I could see them doing that. Spags definitely had a good feel for how Doug Peterson calls his protections. That was one thing that was apparent to me. And that's where Doug is going to have to be careful to switch it up a little bit. And, I think he had a good feel for, oh, wait, the back's offset to the left, they're going to slide to the right. Right? Or the back's offset to the right, they're going to slide to the left. Stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. Where he might have to change that and go, hey, no, I got the back offset to the right, and I usually slide to the left, but I'm going to have the back offset to the right, and we're going to slide to the right, and I'm going to have the back to cross the formation if somebody blitzes from that side. Things like that can go a long way in a matchup like this against Spags, who's great at finding tendencies and exposing them too.
So it sounds like you have a high degree of confidence in the 2 1 seeds, as we should. They were the 1 seeds.
Yeah.
But we have seen in the past where, the week off, sometimes you come out a little sluggish.
I know.
And Tennessee last year didn't handle, I don't know how elite they were. But, I mean, the Chiefs and Eagles have been elite teams for a big chunk of this year.
It's an amazing psychology experiment, this one.
I don't know what the spreads are on both. I would imagine they're both pretty significant. Are they any of them double digits?
Let me ask you. With the Jaguars.
Okay.
They won a game. They won a playoff game. They played against a team who's never been to the playoffs either, right?
Yeah.
They have been to Kansas City this year and know what to expect to a degree.
Yep.
Do you think that allows them to play free and cut it loose? Or the other side of this is this to me. They have no freaking clue what football, playoff, NFL football intensity is really about yet until they see it this weekend.
Yeah.
And they're going to go, whoa. So this is what a Super Bowl team plays like in a divisional round?
Yeah.
Right? Or does that happen with the fans being even crazier, and Mahomes and company are going to be sharp and ready to go and on their A game? I think the Chiefs are on a mission, So is it loose, free Jaguars, or is it, oh, shit, this is a whole different type of intensity we're not ready for? That's, to me, something I'm still filtering out in my brain a little bit that I will be thinking about over the next few days, and I'll even be looking at that in pregame warm-ups.
So it's Jags are 8.5 point dogs, and the Giants 7.5. I would have more confidence in the Chiefs blowing out the Jags.
You would,
I think.
Yeah.
The only reason, because I don't think that, like you mentioned, like the matchup for the Giants is not good against the Eagles, but the Eagles are kind of somewhat new to this dominant in the NFL thing.
I hear you.
Doesn't it kind of feel like that? Because it was just last year they were the 7 seed against Tom Brady and the Bucs, and they got blown out of the water.
Right. Exactly
from the get-go in that game.
Yeah.
So
I
don't know. I'm interested to see how the Eagles handle it.
I know
like the Chiefs
you're right.
will
being the top of the mountain, they haven't played great at the end of the year. Yeah,
exactly.
This is where it's
how healthy is Jalen Hurts.
Right. That's where the psychology of I love this weekend because of all that stuff you're talking about. And like I've said, I think the Chiefs are a highly. I would be shocked if the Chiefs are asleep at the wheel to start this football game. I would absolutely be shocked.
Might happen throughout the game once they get a 20-0 lead again.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right.
So we'll end this with another 2 stats and a lie because you did so well on the first one. This is on the Chiefs' defense. The Chiefs' defense, which you're talking up here, it's got a little bit better.
Woo. This is pressure right here.
So here you go. Kansas City was a top 10 defense in yards per play given up this regular season. Kansas City was top 10 in sacks per pass attempt this regular season. And Kansas City was top 10 in red zone defense this season. So 2 of those are true. It's been a good defense. 1, though, a little bit of an exaggeration. One could say false.
This is a good one.
Where are they not quite as good?
All right. Don't tell me anything yet. I'm just talking it out here. All right. I feel like the Devin stat one, I'm going to say I feel like they're a top 10. I'm trying to think here as the season goes. Here, I'm just so you know, I'm not looking at these stats.
It seems a little fishy. You're stalling for time here. You're very quick at getting stats.
I'm pulling up the Kansas City schedule. I just got to look at the schedule a little bit.
Okay.
All right. That's my biggest problem. Okay.
It's good that they're top 10 in 3 of these, or 2 of these 3.
Well, I think they're top 10 in red zone. I'm going to say that.
Oh, boy.
Oh, shut up. You've said that. I'm right about that because you just said, oh, boy.
No, that's not actually true. That's false.
It is false?
That's false.
Damn.
Their defense is actually, your instincts was wrong on this one.
Damn.
One of the worst. Only the Colts were worse at giving up touchdowns in the red zone.
I don't know what I kind of was, as I was sitting there looking at the schedule, I was going, man, I remember kind of big plays on these, and maybe more points were happening outside the red zone than I remembered. Shit.
So once teams get in there, it's like, they were 8th in yards per play given up. Very good. Top 10 in football.
Right.
Sack rate was 5th in the NFL. About 9 dropbacks are getting a sack, 9%. But they were only the Colts were worse once a team got into the red zone at giving up touchdowns.
Man, I'm surprised by that. I really am. That's actually kind of shocking.
So there it is. There's the formula for the Jaguars. Just get in the red zone.
Get in the red zone. It's as easy as that.
Yeah, as easy as that.
Probably too aggressive down there, knowing the Chiefs.
Maybe.
If we did like a deep dive and I watched all their red zone plays.
And who knows? Maybe they got better as the year went on, too. This doesn't
I think that's where my mind went. When I was thinking about it, I was going, wait, I remember the Broncos making some big plays that weren't in the red zone. Mm-hmm. I remember the Seahawks. I felt like it was kind of the same way, but maybe I'm wrong. So I got one wrong.
Why would that be? Can you? Why would that be happening to them?
I think it is the over-aggression.
You think?
I think
they
can be a little bit that way. Yeah, they can be a little bit like, hey, we're going to force the quarterback all-out blitz. Try to get them to stress their protection. Do that. They're a little bit of like their one thing can be a little sometimes go for the jugular a little too much instead of just like play it conservative. Let's drop people in zone and see if our pass rush can get there. Thanks for watching, homies. Hit subscribe to see all my unbuttoned videos. You get to see me, Ahmed Fareed, all the big player breakdowns, game breakdowns, player interviews, and my film analysis. So please subscribe. Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Peace out.